And finally, in setting up this structure for your practice, there's a few other additions and resources I want to go over, and these are on the back page of your practice page. So the first thing is called your sacred toolbox. And we talked about the non-negotiables, and these sacred building blocks are the bare minimum for your practice. It's going to take around 20-25 minutes a day. But so often we get into that state and we actually want to work a little bit more or stay in that place a little bit more, doing some more practice and rituals. So in your toolbox, just jot the things down that help bring you more into your own sacred state of alignment. Things like reading or morning pages is something I really suggest for people. Morning pages is you get up in the morning, maybe you've done your practice, and you just write and write and write nonstop for 3 pages, or maybe it's 1 page. I can't always do 3 pages. It's a really beautiful practice. You probably have other rituals for moving your body, things you want to do for working out. Whatever it is, write it down here so that it's easily accessible. You're going to start carving out more space for yourself, and you're going to have some more time to do these things. What tends to happen is we're so addicted and used to being busy that when we actually pause, we don't really think of these really beautiful, healthy things to do. So create some tools that are very self-loving and bring you into a sacred state. You can write them down there and they'll be accessible right at your fingertips. Next thing is an area for observation. So as we do this type of embodied work where we're working in the more somatic level and we're working with the neural pathways, it's really interesting how it shows up in your life. It's not that we're trying to necessarily change behavior, it's more that we observe the change of behavior. So a place for just observing what's shifted. So an example might be that, wow, we had our monthly meeting and I just felt so much more grounded and in my skin. Or I noticed that I didn't have to do all of the procrastination stuff this month around getting my homework in. I just did it and didn't even think about it. Just start to notice and observe the things that are happening. And it's important to take a little moment at the maybe end of each day to observe what happened. Maybe you also want to observe what things put you into a survival state and how you behaved in that place. It's just for observation with no judgment. That's key. Another really important piece is scheduling date nights with yourself. So this is a 3-hour time block. I suggest that it's not really planned out. So it's something where you can go, you have sacred space, you know nobody's going to be expecting anything from you, and you can go sort of be and sit with yourself. You can do the homework from this program, but most importantly, you're just being with yourself and asking yourself, what would loving myself look like right now? What would make me joyful? What would fill my cup? And you're gonna go do that. It might be something very unproductive or just self-loving or going deeper into your own practices or rituals. Whatever it is, there is no rules. The only thing I suggest is don't do too much planning for it so that you can learn to listen in the moment to where you're being guided. And then the fourth thing I'm going to give you on here is something called Insight Timer. This is a fantastic timer to use with this practice. Because we do the 5-minute practices, you can set up your timer in this app to ding every 5 minutes. So for me, I have my timer set with a 20-minute block and then a 20-minute block because I do movement, then I do exercises, and then it starts to go into the 5-minute timer because I know at that point I'm seated in my cushion and I'm starting to do some of the different practices. Insight Timer, you can download that app. There's also a worksheet with this module that gives you a list of those resources and ideas of like a little explanation of what all those things are I just mentioned. All right, this is the beginning. I guarantee you're going to start having some results as you start to implement this process. As you go forward, you can take one module at a time, go and experience it for a whole week, just implement it slowly, or you might like to just go through the whole training, put it all in place, and then start. It's really up to you. There's no better way.